Time is now. The time is here. It's go time, baby. Miami Hurricanes, Florida State Seminoles, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night, Doak Campbell Stadium. We're dropping our preview for the game. Let's talk about it right here on Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Show. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, leave a comment. Let's talk about this game. We've talked about some things, three keys, talked about Thomas Castellanos, talked about the Miami offensive line, talked about the Miami defensive line. But at the end of the day, there's one main key to any sporting event, any game, any matchup. And it comes down to one thing: execution. Execution. If you execute, you win. If you don't, you lose. It's that simple. Let's dig in a little bit deeper here on this topic. Let's start off with Florida State. Florida State is led by Thomas Castellanos, the quarterback, two-time transfer, first at UCF, then at Boston College. Now he's at Florida State. Puffed up numbers based on games 2 and 3 against East Texas A&M and Kent State. Busted over 700 total yards in both of those games. The team averages 53 points per game, 600 yards a game, number one in the country in both statistics. Miami Hurricanes are averaging 450 yards, almost 37 points per game. They're probably in the top 30 or 35 in the country in both statistics, both categories. But we all saw what happened last week against Virginia. Against Virginia, Florida State's offense was a little bit more reasonable. It was good. It was really good. But they didn't put up 70 points. They put up 38 points. And they needed overtime to do it. So the game was not a game like Kent State. It was their first road game. And I think that did make a difference in how they played. They're at home this time. So I think they're going to come out with incredible energy. Now, does that energy and that passion translate to success? Well, that's up to the Miami Hurricanes. That's up to the Hurricanes defense to make plays to stop them. Because that first possession of the game, I believe that if Miami gets the ball, Miami has to score 7 points. Miami's first possession, the Canes have got to score 7 points. Florida State, if they get the ball first, they're going to attack downfield. They're going to go for the jugular early. They're going to try to complete a deep ball. They want to get that crowd into a rabid environment. They want those folks rabid. They want them crazy. And that will be a huge thing in that first quarter or so. Is the crowd will already be loud, it'll be excited, and what you need is to quiet that crowd down. Bring them down to speed, to size, so that they're very quiet because you're dominating it. If you let the crowd get into the game early, you make things a lot more difficult for yourself. So that first possession, either way, is going to be a big one. If Miami gets the ball, score, stop, score. You jump up 14-0 on Florida State, it's a different ball game, man. And I know people are going to sit here and say Miami hasn't had to play through any adversity yet. I think the situation against Florida and Notre Dame, there was adversity. Miami against Notre Dame, the game was tied. And Miami went down and scored to win the game. Miami blew a lead. Notre Dame came back. Miami came back and won the game. Against Florida, Miami's playing against the Gators and some officiating that wasn't really all that friendly. Officiating that took away a touchdown that would have had a game 20-0. Instead, the game is 13-7, and the Gators have the ball with a chance to actually take the lead. So they have gone through some levels of adversity, and they've overcome it in both situations. Again, both of those games at home. There's going to be some tough situations in this game for the Hurricanes. They're going to have to overcome. They're going to have to battle. It has to get grimy, and they have to bring a lot of grit. This is all coach speak, cliche. That's what it is, because that's every sport. Every sport is filled with cliche. and everything is filled with the same. It's the same. Every game is the same. Dominate the line of scrimmage, you win. Don't turn the ball over, you win. Like very rarely do you dominate both sides of the line of scrimmage and don't turn the ball over and lose. So I think that first quarter or so is going to be really, really critical and keeping FSU quiet, keeping their crowd quiet. Miami defensively, assignment football, discipline. Discipline. I'm going to say it again, discipline. That is something that the Miami Hurricanes have got to play with. Incredible discipline. Florida State is going to come out with some stuff that you have not seen before. Guaranteed. Or stuff that you have seen before that they've had use and be successful with. You can expect misdirection. You can expect trick plays. You can expect end around. Makai Danzy on the end around. It's going to happen at some point. You have to be ready for that play. You have to. Studying this week was critical. Formations, tendencies, all those things. Critical. FSU is not going to come out there and try to go helmet on helmet. Their pass blocking attack is not that great. Their run blocking is pretty solid, but their running game is also predicated largely on the legs of Thomas Castellanos. He makes it go. You have to stop him. More than the running backs, you have to stop him. Because if you stop him, you stop their offense. You stop their offense. So you have to look at this situation and you have to be realistic. FSU's going to move the ball. FSU's going to score. It won't look like the Florida game. It won't. But you have to be disciplined. The one thing I took from that Florida game more than anything, the one thing that I took from that Florida game was that Miami's defense was incredibly disciplined. And I saw the same thing against South Florida. But Florida especially, the discipline was exceptional. They were always in the right spots. They didn't break contain. They didn't allow Florida to break contain. They didn't over pursue. They didn't leave their assignments. It sounds simple, of course, once again. But if I'm running an end around and your job is to be here, right? Okay. And QB runs this way, gives the end around. Well, let's say it's a reverse. Hand off to the running back. DN crashes. DN here crashes. He's going after here. Here, boom. You've crashed in. And now that whole lane is wide open. You have one receiver typically blocking a DB. You have a chance for a huge gash. Huge play. And when you're in your assignments and you're not chasing and you stay with your assignment, what happens? He gets that end around or that reverse, and you're there to make a tackle. So the assignments, the discipline, critical. And I really think at the end of the day, you're going to see a lot of these types of misdirection plays. You're going to see that. I think you're going to see a quarterback throwback. I think you're going to see a QB throwback. I think you're going to see a double pass. I think you're going to see the end around reverse. I think you're going to see a lot of guys in motion for Florida State. They're going to do everything they can to confuse the Miami defense. And when you do that, guys can sometimes get they can lose their assignments. That's the purpose of motion and all those things. Lots of movement can confuse the defense. So when it comes down to it, I think that's really a critical piece to the puzzle for the Miami defense is playing assignment football, be disciplined. Discipline is key. Discipline is so key to this game because FSU does have explosive players. Their most explosive players on the edge, Deuce Robinson. Deuce Robinson is a guy that they're going to have to lock down. They're going to have to cover. He's going to have the ball thrown to him a lot. He's Tommy Castellanos' favorite target. The dude's already caught 17 passes for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's 6'6". He's a big target. He had 9 catches last week. After that, their next leading receiver is Mekhi Danzy, who has 7 catches. After that, LaWayne McCoy, who has 4 catches. So a lot of the passes are going to go to Deuce Robinson. They're going his direction. So I expect Miami to have someone shading over the top of him and help on him. Whoever's defending him at corner, I would probably have my best corner follow him around the field. Now, I don't know how Miami's scheme is in terms of if they'll do that. Back in the day, if you the number one receiver, the number one corner is following that guy everywhere. And I think that's something that Miami should be potentially considering. If they're not, is have your best corner on that guy the whole game. Because what you cannot have happen is that guy get the big play. Because he's a big play threat, a big play player. And he's made them this year for them. I know he dropped that ball against Virginia, but he's made a lot of big plays this year. He is a big-time threat for this team. And if you slow him down, you slow down their offense. You look at their running game. Their running game is basically Tommy Castellanos and Gavin Sawchuk. Those are their 2 guys, the running back and quarterback. But Castellanos sets the whole thing up. He sets the whole thing up for their running game. I don't particularly take their running game all that seriously. Like when people say, "Oh, they have an amazing running attack," I don't take that seriously. They played 2 ducks against Alabama. They ran the ball okay, but it was largely Castellanos. Against Virginia, they ran the ball okay, but a lot of it was Castellanos. So when I look at a running game, I'm looking at running backs. I'm not looking at the quarterback. But when I know that your quarterback is largely your leading rusher, your best rusher, your biggest threat, well, then now I'm spying him. And I think that's something that Miami's going to do. I think Miami will do that. I think Miami is going to have to spy him and keep someone watching over him at all times. I think Miami's going to blitz early on. You got to hit this guy over and over and over again. You have to let him feel you over and over and over again. Make him feel the pain. Ruben Bain has got to get in the backfield. I think Ruben Bain should dominate his matchup against Pettis. He should dominate that matchup. Now, offensively, of course, I've already said it. The offensive line has to dominate the game and dictate the tempo. But there's more to it than that because there's going to be adjustments made throughout the game. I think FSU initially will start off in their 3-3-5. And if Miami's chunking them for 6, 7, 8 yards of carry, they're going to move guys up. They're probably going to send some run blitzes. Their DBs who do a lot of tackling will be playing a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. And there's going to be those passes up around, in the middle of the field. They're going to be there. Carson Beck has got to make the throws. There has to be yards after the catch. I'd like to see Miami open up the playbook a little bit. Test them downfield. FSU's DBs are not that good in pass coverage. They're not that good in pass coverage. Last week alone, they had some struggles. They're not that good in pass coverage. Trust on that. I mean, they gave up 46 points last week to Virginia. And Virginia scored at will on them for most of that game. They moved the ball at will for most of that game. Virginia had over 440 yards. Quarterback 26 to 36, 229, 2 touchdowns. Then they had 3 picks. Those were bad throws. Picked them apart. He picked them apart. They got yards in bunches. And I think that Miami's gonna have to I think Carson Beck's gonna have his biggest game of the year. He's gonna have his best game of the year. He's gonna have his biggest numbers of the year. And of course, obviously, you have Mark Fletcher and Marty Brown. And now there's reports that Jordan Lyle and JoJo Trader are back in the mix. We'll see. I'm not going to jump up and down. I think that that's great. Do I foresee those guys playing a ton of minutes, ton of snaps? Not really. I really don't. I think it's tough to throw someone back in when they haven't been in the lineup now for 3 weeks and put them back in there in a road game at Florida State. But you know what? Jordan Lyle is that home run hitter running back. And I think he provides a different element from Marty Brown and Mark Fletcher, where they're just trucks that run people over. Jordan Lyle can hit the edges and go. So I'd be interested to see something like that. I think Miami has to include some level of trickeration in this thing. Miami has to run out some reverses and shit like that. I don't expect double passes or QB throwbacks, but reverses and motion and crosses that create havoc in the middle of the field. There's going to be adversity in this game at some point. It's not going to be roses and daisies and all that easy stuff. This game is going to be a fight. It's going to be a slugfest. And while I do have Miami winning this game, I'll give you my prediction of this game: Miami 34-17. I think Miami jumps out early, controls the game, and FSU gets a couple of scores in the second half to make it a closer game. That's the way I see this game going. I see Miami taking this game early on, and FSU. I think you'll see a pick six at some point this weekend. Tomorrow night, there will be a pick six for Miami this weekend. We'll see our first pick six of the season because Castellanos is going to airmail a ball or underthrow a ball, and one of our guys will go in there, pick it off, and take it back for a touchdown. Or at worst, get it like real close, and then they punch it in for a touchdown. So I think you're going to see some opportunities for the defense to make plays turnover-wise, which they didn't obviously have in those first few games because C.J. Carr for Notre Dame did not throw the ball down the field. DJ Lagway did not throw the ball down the field. So you don't have opportunities to intercept passes typically when you don't throw the ball down the field. So I'm excited. I'm stoked. I don't want to see mistakes with penalties. I don't want to see mistakes with turnovers. All the things I said go out the window if you turn the ball over. If you turn the ball over, everything I said goes out the window. You cannot turn the ball over. You got to play clean football. You got to be focused. I think Carson Beck is the best man for this job. He's been in these situations before. He's played in these big lights environments on the road. He's played everybody in the SEC. This is no different. Just another experience for him. But he's been there before. People can sit here and talk about it all they want, but when the experience of these situations is big, it's huge. It's huge. So, again, kickoff is at 7:30. Miami, Florida State, number 3 versus number 18. And let me speak on that ranking of FSU. FSU being ranked number 18 is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Talked about it last night with John from Cafecito and Kane, but that's a disgrace. FSU should not be ranked number 18. It should be ranked higher than that. To lose on the road by 8 in overtime to a good Virginia team and drop 10 spots, but the team that you beat the doors off of in the first week of the season, Alabama, is now ranked in the top 11, is lunacy. It's lunacy. So in a sense, I'm a little irritated because when Miami beats this team, FSU's probably going to drop out of the top 25. And people will say, "Oh, there wasn't even a ranked win." Like, give me a break, man. The way they treat the ACC teams is diabolical bullshit. It's hate-filled garbage. And it's why you can't afford to lose in the ACC. Because the respect of the league is still trash, no matter what they do. It's time for Miami to show the nation why there are so many national pundits who are raving about the Hurricanes. Prove them right. Show them that you are what you are. Show them that you are what they think you are. And show them what we know you are because we've been watching. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, Miami 34, Florida State 17. And I want to hear y'all thoughts. I want to know what y'all predicted score is, what you think are the keys to the game, and what you're looking for this weekend. Y'all hit me up, leave a comment again. Love y'all. Subscribe to the channel, ring that bell. This is Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.